Nilikaa kwenye vumbi, moyo ukiwa mzito. Kila hatua ilikuwa ndefu kama mlima usioisha, lakini niliokota nguvu pale nilipoanguka. Nikaweka jina langu juu ya kidonda. Nilikosa sauti, nikameza kilio, nikabeba siku hizi kama jiwe kifuani. Lakini bado nipo, bado na hema, bado naona mwanga ukinipitia. Pole pole najisogeza mbele, pole pole najijenga tena. Usiku huu si wa mwisho, moyo wangu bado unajua kuota. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Najifuta leo, nainuka tena. Kesho ni mpya, naanza tena. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Nafungua njia yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanyamaza. Watu wakapita, nikabaki na kivuli, lakini ndani yangu kuna cheche ndogo.
Yes, peace and love, wonderful family. Welcome to the Swahili classes for the weekend, being on a Saturday. This being on the 2nd day of the month of May, the year 2026. I want to welcome you to another opportunity where we get to learn Swahili together, and you can always feel free to interact. You can ask questions. You can actually share your feedback on anything that you feel that we have touched on. And last week we were learning about pronouns. Excuse me, I think you just have to excuse my cold. I have a bit of a cold, but nonetheless, we shall still proceed with our class. Last week we learned about pronouns, and pronouns, we did say that they are known as viwakilishi. And these viwakilishi, they simply mean they are representing. It means they are representing nouns. That is what we learned last week. We talked about the pronouns, and we were learning about personal pronouns. We learned about indefinite pronouns, and we also learned about relative pronouns, as well as reciprocal or reflexive pronouns. We got to learn these, and we did say that even about myself, the first person. For the first person, you would say Mimi. You would say Mimi, M-I-M-I. And if you're talking about the second person, you would actually say wewe, and in Swahili that is you, wewe. For example, wewe utakula nini? If someone was to ask wewe utakula nini, they simply are asking you, what about you? What will you eat? What will you eat? And in that regard, you are able to see that these are representing nouns. For example, if you did say wewe, W-E, that is you. So therefore, someone might ask, wewe utakula nini? Someone might ask, wewe utakula nini? If someone is asking, wewe utakula nini? That is a question. They are asking, what will you eat? And they would respond, for example, if it is me, and you're asking me, wewe utakula nini? I would respond and say, mimi nitakula ugali na nyama. That is, I'll have ugali and meat. I'll have ugali and some beef. If someone is asking, wewe utakunywa chai? If someone is asking, wewe utakunywa chai, they are simply asking, will you take some tea, or will you have some tea? That is simply what they're asking. Will you have some tea? And that is, you would respond in the affirmative, in the positive, and you might say ndio. If someone wants to ask, wewe utakunywa chai, and you want to respond in the affirmative, then you would say ndio, N-D-I-O, which is equals to yes. And you might say hapana if you didn't want to have some tea, you would respond and say hapana, Hapana, hapana. That simply means no. Someone might also say la, and they might emphasize and say la hasha, then that would be no as well. So la, then that would be no. Someone says la hasha, that is just an emphasis, no, thanks. So la hasha, that would be no, thanks. They wouldn't want to have tea. And I did say in the Swahili context, people also do use gestures. And if someone was asking a question and you respond with shaking your head like this, then this is a positive gesture and you're agreeing with whatever they're asking. This is a yes. And if you shake your head like this, of course, that is a no. In some other cases, you might find like the Indians, I think they do different. I think when the Indians do like this, I think they mean yes. But nonetheless, in the Bantu Swahili culture, if you nod your head like this, then it's actually in agreement and it's a yes. At the start of this particular show, I have played as a song, and it's known as Machozi. Machozi is a word that means tears. And if you remember correctly, we did have a class, I think that was last week or last week, but one. We were talking about the parts of the body, and we did say if you're talking about your eyes, you point your eyes like this. One eye, it's known as jicho for one eye. If you're talking about two eyes, the answer is macho. But this particular word, machozi simply means tears because it's water that comes from it's a water that comes from or the liquid that comes from your eyes. So there's a connection between macho and machozi, but the song it's known as machozi, and the singer says machozi yatiririka, meaning that the tears are flowing down. The tears are flowing down. If someone says tiririka, it means flow down. For example, if you turn on your tap and the water is flowing down, you might say maji inatiririka. Maji inatiririka. We have learned when we were talking about basic items, we did say that water, it's known as maji. And if at all you didn't want some water, you would say nipe maji, which is Nipe, maji. Then that would be give me water, give me water. And if you're very courteous, you would say nipe maji tafadhali, which is give me water please, or please give me water. So nipe maji tafadhali, maji tafadhali. The tafadhali there is just a common courtesy word. It means please. So it shows that you're courteous. It means please give me water. Please give me water. And there's something else that we also learned previously. That if you're talking about amount, if you're talking about an amount of something, for example, if you're talking about sukari kidogo, kidogo shows that the quantity you're talking about is minute. So you would say nipe sukari kidogo, which is give me a bit of a sugar, or nipe maji kidogo. If someone says kidogo at the end of their request, it means kidogo, just a little, a little. If someone says muda kidogo, muda means time, muda means time. Muda means time. So therefore, if someone says muda kidogo, it means a little time. For example, you went into a cafe and the waiter was to ask you, je, utakula nini? And you did say, nataka kula chapati, chapati na maragwe. If you wanted to have chapati and beans, and then they would say, tafadhali nipe muda kidogo, it simply means they are asking you to give them more time to serve your request or to cater to your request. That is exactly how you would say it. But when it comes to pronouns, once again, pronouns, they are not difficult to learn. They are just used in the place of a noun, and therefore, you might talk about mimi, you might talk about whoever, you might talk about wale. Wale means them. It means them. It's a group and they are there. And if they are here with you and it's a group and they are here with you, they might say hawa, which is these ones, because you're referring to people and you're referring to these people with you there. And therefore you would say watu hawa, or these people, watu hawa, wanataka chakula. That would be these people want food. So therefore you would say watu hawa, because they are there with you and they want to have some food, you say watu hawa wanataka chakula. But if you're referring to a pronoun and this pronoun refers to people who are there on the other side, you would say wale. Therefore you might say watu wale wanataka chakula, and it's understood to be they want some food. They want some food. And you might point over to them and say, they there, they want some food. So pronouns are not difficult in Swahili. That is what we are talking about. Before we go into something else, I just wanted to do a bit of a recap. So you would say wale for them. That is for them. You would say hawa for these ones here. Hawa for these ones. These people here. These ones here. And wow also means them. Wow, W-A-O. Wow also means them. Wow also means them. And if you're talking about us, we, the second people, the second person plural, you would say we. So we, you would say sisi, S-I. For example, you might say we don't like a lot of noise. We don't like a lot of noise. You would say sisi hatupendi makelele mingi. Sisi hatupendi kelele mingi. That is exactly how you say sisi hatupendi kelele mingi, because for us we always point to we, and sisi simply means we. Sisi simply means we. Wewe means you. Mimi means I. Up to that particular point, I hope we are together. If not, you can feel free to ask a question. I always do say that it is important to do your practice, because practice makes perfect. The more you practice your language, the easier it becomes for you. You might practice it with your friends, you might practice it with your colleagues, you practice it with your family. Whomever you find interested in helping you out along your journey for you to understand Swahili better, please involve them. Involve someone else in your learning of a language. Please involve other people in the learning of your language, and it will actually make it much more easier for you to be able to learn and to be able to follow through with the language. We shall enjoy another song right here, and this song is known as Zamu. Zamu is very close to like Zamani, but this Zamani means long ago, but Zamu means turn. If someone says Zamu yangu, they simply mean my turn. So for example, if someone was to say sijachoka, sijachoka is a phrase that means I am not tired. Zamu yangu haijafika, that would be I am not tired, it's only my turn hasn't reached yet. My turn hasn't reached yet. So this song is known as Zamu. Let me know what you feel about the Swahili song. And you can also give me some feedback regarding any other Swahili word that you find particularly interesting, or that you find, let me know which other Swahili word.
Na iwapo kuna muda napojiuliza, mbona ni kama nimesahaulika, napata mawazo na fikira, hisia nazo kanizingira, kisha usingizi kitandani, nahisi tena haupo, ila nina imani kuwa nina imani kuwa muda haujazini, moyo usikate tamaa, nipo hapa nasubiri, zamu yangu, ndoto zangu zote nitafikia, mie kwa walioshuku watafahamu, eti moyo wetu ndio maana sina shaka wala haraka, najua zamu yangu ipo, zamu yangu ipo, zamu yangu ipo. Macho yangu yaangaza juu kwa Mola mwenye uweza, juu sinani kwa mwingine, najua zamu yangu ipo, aliyeweka tumaini ni kwa wanadamu, kesho kamkia mabadiliko, nyakati na muda ukawa umesonga, ila
so that is a jam, or that is a song that it's known as Zamu, and Zamu simply means turn. So therefore, if someone says zamu yangu, it simply means my turn. And if someone says zamu yako, it means your turn, because yangu is mine, and that is a possessive pronoun. Yangu is a possessive pronoun, so it's mine, zamu yangu. But if it's for the second person, if it's for your turn, then you would say zamu yako, zamu yako. Zamu is a turn, so someone says zamu yako, they simply are referring to your turn. If it is our turn, maybe we are on a queue, we are in the bank, and maybe perhaps we are on the queue. These days, I don't think people queue in the banks no more since technology changed. People just do their transactions with their phones. But a couple of years back, if you're on the bank queue and you're just lining, and we are as a group, we would say zamu yetu because it's our turn on the queue for us to get served. If, for example, we are getting banking as a group, that is exactly how you would say it, and it's not even difficult. So we move a little bit fast forward from that. We shall not return to the same. We shall move a little bit fast forward and go into negation, and we shall be able to understand how you do the negation of words or the negation of phrases in Swahili. Negation simply means kukanusha. In Swahili, we do say kukanusha. For example, if something is said to be, for example, in this way, in the positive, we can always negate it and make it in the negative. And if you're trying to learn Swahili, negation is very important because you need to be able to understand about negation and negative expressions. And we shall do that to help you with our Swahili grammar so that you can be able to learn how you do the negation. In Swahili, the way it happens is that in Swahili, we call it kukanusha, and you might be told kanusha sentensi ifuatayo, which is please negate this sentence, please negate this sentence. So in Swahili, negation depends upon the pronoun and the tense. However, some negations just require the word no, but it comes after the question. For example, you might say in the first person and also the present tense siwezi, you can say siwezi. For example, you can say siwezi or sikuweza. For example, if someone was to ask, did you sing? Did you sing? If someone was to ask, uliimba, then you might say sikuweza kuimba. You might respond and say sikuweza kuimba. Or if it's in the future tense, you might say sitaweza kuimba. If someone was asking you utaimba, if someone was to ask you utaimba, then you would say sitaweza kuimba. So for the first person, the prefix is si. It is used, but what follows depends with the tense. For example, let me just give us examples. And you're talking about maybe food. If you're talking about food and someone was to ask you, je, utakula chakula? That is, will you eat some food? Je, utakula chakula. So what you do is you take the, will you eat food? Will you eat food? So what you do is that you take the syllable C, the syllable SI. It is used to negate. A word or a phrase. So the syllable SI becomes the prefix for the root verb. It becomes the prefix for the root verb. But before you put the root verb, yes, it becomes the prefix for the root verb. But before you put the root verb, you have to put the tense marker for whatever tense that you're talking about. If someone is asking you, kama utakula chakula, then you would respond and say, si, you put the syllable si, and then the tense marker for the future tense, ta. So you'd say si, ta, and then the root verb is kula. So you would say sita kula, si, ta, kula, sita kula. That would be I will not eat. I will not eat. So you have already negated. You have negated that particular sentence. If someone says, for example, if someone was to give an example and say, and utaendelea kusoma gazeti. For example, if you read a newspaper and someone wants to ask, je, utaendelea kusoma gazeti? If someone not read, I will not read. That is exactly how you say it. I will not read. Cooking, in Swahili we say pika. Pika. Excuse me. Pika. Pika means cook. So in the positive, I would say nitapika chakula. That would be I will cook food. I will cook food. So I would say nitapika chakula. That is I will cook food. I will cook food. But now if you're talking about the negative, or you turn that sentence into a negative and you negate the sentence, you would say si chakula. So you say si is to negate si, ta is the tense marker, then pika would be pika is cook. Si pika. I will not cook, because cook is to pika. If you're talking about maybe walk, the things we do on a day-to-day basis, we talk, we walk, we eat, we sleep. These are some of the most common things that people do. But people can say very, very simply that sitalala means I will not sleep. Someone might say sitakula, for I will not eat. Someone might say sitaamka, for I will not, because amka is on keti or katini. Keti is to sit down. Keti simply means sit down. Keti means sit down. So if I did say sitaketi, then that will be I will not sit. Sitaketi. It means I will not sit. I will not sit. Will not sit. So therefore, you see that the syllable si are used as a prefix for the tense marker, and then you put the root verb. It shows that you have negated that particular verb. If it was a verb for example, elewa means to understand. Elewa means to understand. So therefore, if someone says je umeelewa, umeelewa is simply asking, have you understood? That is the way they're asking. And you might say ndio or hapana. That would be just a direct answer, a yes or no. Or you can negate that and you can say sijaelewa, which is I have not understood. And it's not difficult. It's actually very, very easy. I always do say the more you practice, the more you become perfect at a language. And I always keep on emphasizing that there are many languages on the continent, about 2,000 languages. If you visit a country, for example, you go to Rwanda, you'll find 3 languages. If you go to Ethiopia, about 81 languages. If you go to Kenya, about 47 languages, because you have 47 different tribes or ethnic groups. If you go to there's so many of them. If you go to Zambia, there's so many of them. If you go to Malawi, there's so many of them. You may go to Mozambique. I don't know how many languages there are in Mozambique, but I'm sure it's a couple of them, because I would understand that there are many different subgroups or ethnic groups of people there, and every group has their own language. But Swahili is widely accepted, and that is why we learn Swahili language. It's widely accepted. Someone might ask you, why don't you pick on any other language? I always do say that it's because Swahili is widely accepted, and it is also easy to learn. If you're learning Swahili, you just get to use your palm, and when you raise your palm like this, you can illustrate and show the 5 vowels. You have the A, E, O, U. Once you have the 5 vowels, you always have to remember that the consonants are also there, all the letters of the English alphabet except for X and Q, and except for the 5 vowels that I've just used my palm to represent. So the rest of that, they make up the consonants. And you always have to remember that in Swahili, we do not have cluster consonants, because cluster consonants, they would make the language a bit difficult. But we do have syllables that have alternating vowel sounds. For example, if you have a basket, you go into the market and you have a basket, you would say kikapu. Kikapu is a word which is a ki, ka, and pu. This kikapu, it means a basket. Kikapu, it simply means a basket. And when you talk about a basket, you realize that these are 3 syllables. These are 3 syllables. And the 3 syllables, they have alternating vowel sounds. Alternating vowel sounds. The alternating vowel sounds, this is ki, the vowel is E. The A, ki, ka, let me just put it up here. This is ki, ka, pu. Kikapu, it means a basket. And therefore you have the syllable ki with the vowel E, the syllable ka with the vowel A, the syllable pu with the vowel U. So therefore, that is how Swahili sounds like, kikapu. If you're talking about maybe something like a box, you could say sanduku, sanduku, sanduku. That is a box. So sanduku has 3 syllables. The sa, the ndu, and the ku. Sanduku. It has 3 syllables. So one might say sa, ndu, ku. Sa is a syllable with the consonant a, with the vowel a. Ndu is a syllable with the vowel u, and ku is a syllable with the vowel u. So in that regard, we have 3 syllables and 2 different vowels, a, and then ndu and the ku. That is exactly how you would actually put that together. And you also have to see, for example, if you're talking about something like a pen, you would say kalamu, kalamu, ke, ka, la, mu. Kalamu is a pen. So kalamu is a pen, that would be a pen. So kalamu is a word with 3 syllables. The 3 syllables are ka, la, and mu. The ka has a vowel a, the la has a vowel a, and the mu has a vowel u. That is exactly how you can describe it. And it does not become any difficult. If anything, I always do say that Swahili is very, very easy for anyone to understand. And you can practice it with your friends. You can practice it with your colleagues. So I would say that these are 3 syllables: the ka, the la, and the mu. The ka, the la, and the mu. So if you're talking about any other word, I'm just trying to show you how simple Swahili is. And it is made up of words with syllables with alternating vowel sounds: kalamu, sanduku, chakula, mzigo, mwanafunzi, mtoto, baba, mama. So all these words, you find that the words, they end with this the syllable with a vowel sound. Syllable with a vowel sound. So it does not end up with consonants. You not find like a word like tant. You say like tant. Tant ends with the letter N, which is a Swahili syllable. You cannot have a word in the Swahili language that ends with the N. Only end with a vowel. A, E, O, U. That is the way it is. We shall take a short break and enjoy some music. We shall be able to continue.
Nilikukuta pale, moyo ukasema, hata bila sauti, najua ni wewe. Ukiangalia mimi, dunia inacheza. Kila tabasamu lako linanifanya nionge. Ulivyo una nuru ya ndani na mimi nikakwama, nikakupenda ghafla. Moyo ulijua kabla ya macho, kuna mahali petu pa milele kabisa. Tangu siku ile sijaweza kusahau. Kila nikifunga macho na kuwaza tu you and me, ni wazi kabisa Mungu alituchora kwa sababu moja. Nilikupenda tangu zamani, mahaba yangu kwako ni ya thamani. Vile ulivyo Mungu katuumba tuwe pamoja, tangu zamani, tangu zamani. Nilikupenda tangu zamani, you're the one, my love, my darling. Vile ulivyo Mungu katuumba tuwe pamoja, tangu zamani, tangu zamani. Ukinishika mkono naona kesho, kama barua nzuri iliyoandikwa pole. Sio leo tu, ni safari ya roho. Tulivyopangwa sote, si bahati ya mchezo. Naomba utabaki, usiniache nione kila siku mpya. Ni wewe na mimi, nitajenga nyumba ndani ya moyo wako. Tukiwa pamoja, everything feels right. Tangu siku ile sijaweza kusahau. Kila nikifunga macho na kuwaza tu you and me, ni wazi kabisa Mungu alituchora kwa sababu moja. Nilikupenda tangu zamani, mahaba yangu kwako ni ya thamani. Vile ulivyo Mungu katuumba tuwe pamoja, tangu zamani, tangu zamani. Nilikupenda tangu zamani, you're the one.
Yes, that is a jam, and it's known as a Tangu Zamani. Tangu Zamani means since a long time ago, since a long time ago. And it's a wonderful Swahili song because it's just a love song. And if you're trying to learn Swahili, please make sure that you can find yourself some Swahili tracks. Find yourself some Swahili tracks. And these songs will help you a great way, along your way in terms of learning your Swahili. And you can always maybe even check out some of the songs that have subtitles, because those are pretty much easier for you to follow and find out what is going on, and you will be able to know. You'll be able to know what the artist or what the singer is actually talking about in the song, and you will be able to work out, the meaning of those particular words. So we are back, and we are learning about the issue of negating phrases or negating sentences. Negating sentences, and the simple way to do that is by using the syllable si. For example, if someone says kuja, kuja means come, and if you wanted to say I will not come, then you would say sitakuja, sitakuja, sitakuja. And that would be I will not come. I will not come. If someone says keti, if someone says keti chini is a phrase. It means sit down. If you wanted to negate that particular phrase, you would say si taketi chini. I will not sit down. Si taketi chini. So therefore, if you're trying to negate anything, or trying to negate a sentence, or you're trying to negate a phrase, you can use the syllable si at the start, or as a prefix for the root verb. But then between the si and the root verb, you have to show the tense marker. There are 3 tense markers. I think you should be able to understand that. And these are in relation to the verb, because you want to know when there is a verb happening. Is it the present continuous? Is it in the past, or will it happen in the future? So the tense marker comes before the verb. It comes as a prefix for the verb. So you might say, si kukunywa chai, si kukunywa chai. The si is used to show that you are negating. But kukunywa, si kukunywa, then that was in the past. That was in the past. And there are the tense markers, like I did say. Number one is the present continuous na. The second one is a future, which is ta. The third one is li, for. The li is for the past. Excuse me. Li is for the past, and therefore you would say, but for the past, actually, you get to realize that for the past, you do not use the tense marker li. You do not use the tense marker li. You do not use the tense marker li. You would actually, for the past, you do not use the tense marker li when you're negating, because, for example, you would say siku kunywa chai. You would say siku ku. Sorry, ku. Ku. Ku is actually a syllable that shows that the verb is in action. I think we have learned this in a previous class. It shows the verb in action. So you might say sikusoma kitabu, which is I did not read the book. Sikusoma kitabu kile, that will be I did not read that book. But if you're talking about the future, you might say sitasoma kitabu kile, and that will be I will not read that book. If you're talking about the present continuous, you would say sisomi kitabu kile, sisomi kitabu kile, and it's understood to be very, very easy. Sisomi kitabu kile, it's not difficult. It's these are for the interaction. I was just saying that if you're trying to negate anything, you're trying to negate a phrase, you can negate the phrase by simply using the syllable si. You might say sitakuja, that would be I will not come. And therefore you realize that the si is a negate, that is used to negate. Then you do have the ta. Ta is for the future. And then kuja is for the root verb, which is come. If you're talking about something else, for example, you're talking about jump. Jump in Swahili, if someone says jump, you would say ruka. If someone says jump in Swahili, they would say ruka. But if you wanted to say that you will not jump, then you would say sitaruka, sitaruka. So that would be si taruka. So therefore you realize that the si is very I will not jump. It's very instrumental because it can negate the phrase ruka. So you say sitaruka, which is a phrase meaning I will not jump. And if someone is asking, je utakula chakula, je utakula chakula, je utakula chakula is a question. Will you eat food? Will you eat some food? If someone is to ask, will you eat some food? Then you would say, sitakula chakula. Sitakula, it means I will not eat. So that would be si ta kula. Kula is kula means eat. Sitakula chakula. Chakula is for food. So therefore, it means I will not eat food. I will not eat food. That is exactly how you would respond, and that is how you would say it. I always do say Swahili is not difficult when you're learning, when you're trying to learn the words. It's not difficult. Only thing you need to understand is that it uses the SVO, which is the subject, verb, object, order. The subject, the verb, the object, order. So therefore, you're talking about the subject. Mtoto mzuri anakula. So therefore you say mtoto mzuri anakula chakula, or mtoto anakula chakula. So for example, mtoto anakula chakula. Mtoto anakula chakula is the baby is eating food. So you see, mtoto anakula chakula. Mtoto is a subject. Kula is the verb. Kula means to eat. And then we have chakula, which is the object. So mtoto anakula chakula. You might also maybe perhaps use an adjective. You might say mtoto anakula chakula kitamu. Mtoto anakula chakula kitamu, and it's understood that the child is eating some good food. The child is eating some good food. The child is that is exactly how you said. The child is eating food. Mtoto anakula chakula. Mtoto anakula chakula. So that is the verb, the subject, verb, object. That is the way it's set, and that is the way you do find it. That is the way you do find it working. The verb and the object. Always remember that the subject, the verb, and the object, that is simply the same way that the conversation flows. When you're aligning or when you're putting words together, when you are putting words together in a sentence, is the subject, the verb, the object, the subject, the verb, the object. It's not even difficult. What you need to do is just make sure that you are practicing, and the more you practice, the more you become perfect at your understanding of the language of Swahili. Today we are learning about Swahili negation, how to negate sentences. And for example, you might say sitaweza. Sitaweza, it means I will not be able to, and that shows that you will not be able to do whatsoever you're trying to point to. You would say you're not able to do that. You're not able to do Apologies for the hits. And I was just saying that if you're trying to learn and understand the language better, it is very, very important to also use the resources that are available online. For example, we do have the Duolingo app. The Duolingo app is one that can help you do the translations of words. These days, I do believe even AI is a very, very good tool for you to be able to help you learn Swahili. So therefore, if you're trying to learn and understand how Swahili works, it is very, very important that you also get to use all the help that you can get. And also the archives of our previous classes. I've always said that if you're trying to say hello to a group of individuals, you would say Hamjambo. If you say hello to one person, you would say Hujambo. Or you might ask Habari yako. Habari yako is how are you? And they would respond and say Nzuri, or they can respond and say Njema, or they can respond and say Salama. Salama means well, or Salama means okay. In case you did forget, Salama means well, all okay. So therefore, if someone was to ask you Habari yako, and you wanted to tell them that you are well, and therefore you would say Salama, all Nzuri. Nzuri means good. Nzuri, it means good. Nzuri, it means good. So therefore, if you're talking about maybe something like, you might also have another example, another response. You might say Njema. Njema means okay as well. Njema, it means okay. Njema, it means okay. And I did say that if you're trying to introduce yourself, you do it very, very simply. You might say, Jina langu ni Spikes, which is my name is Spikes. Jina langu ni Spikes, which is my name is Spikes. Jina langu ni Spikes, wewe je. And if someone says wewe je, it simply means how about you, because we said wewe, it means you. It's a second person. It means second person. If someone says jina langu ni Mary, that is my name is Mary, you might ask wewe je, that is how about you. My name is Mary, how about you? And you might say nina furaha kupatana nawe, and that would be I am pleased, happy. I'm happy to meet you. I'm happy to meet you. Nina furaha kupatana nawe leo. Leo is today. And remember last time when we're talking about the day, we said leo means today, and kesho means tomorrow. Kesho means tomorrow. Kesho is for tomorrow. Kesho, it's for tomorrow. For tomorrow. And therefore, if someone is telling you that you will meet tomorrow, they would say tutapatana kesho, which is two is we. Two is we. Two is for we, is a syllable, points to we. And remember, the syllable ni points to I. The syllable ni is for myself. The syllable ni is for I. So if I say tutapatana kesho, it means we will meet tomorrow. If I say ni naenda shuleni, it means I am going to school. If I did say wa means them. Wa is for them. Wa is for them. Wa is for they. So if I did say wanaenda shuleni, wa is a syllable, it's for they. But it say wanaenda shuleni, it means they are going to school. They are going to school. So let me illustrate that very, very simply. If I did say tunaenda shule, then that would be we are going to school. If I said ninaenda shule, then that would be I personally, I am going to school. So we say ni naenda shule. That would be I am going to school. But if I said wanaenda shule, if I did say wanaenda shule, and that would be wa naenda shule, that is in the plural. They are going to school. They are going to school. So I don't know if you see the three uses. I did say two is for we are going. The ni is for I myself alone, the first person singular, I. If I'm talking about they is a third person plural. Therefore, you would say they are going to school. They wanaenda shule. If it says wanakula chakula, it means they are eating food. If I did say tu nakula chakula, then it means we are eating food. If we did say ni nakula chakula, then that would be I am eating some food. I am eating some food. Up to that particular point, je, una swali? It simply means, do you have a question? If you have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza. I will be more than glad to respond. I will be more than glad to share with you the answer. In Swahili, we call an answer jibu. We do say jibu, J-I-B-U for an answer. It means that is for an answer. And at the same time, jibu is both a noun and a verb. Jibu is both a noun and a verb. When you're talking about the noun, jibu is the answer. But when we are talking about the verb, we do say that it is the action of answering. If I did tell you jibu swali, it means answer the question. If I did tell you ninataka jibu, it means I want an answer. So therefore, in that regard, we are able to understand that jibu is both jibu is both a noun, and jibu is both a noun and a verb. So you can say jibu swali langu, then that will be answer my question. Or you might say jibu swali langu tafadhali, and that will be answer my question please. Answer my question please, or please answer my question. Up to that particular point, do you have a question? Up to that particular point, if you have a question, please let me know. Please let me know if you do have a question. If you do have a question, please ask. If you do have a question, please ask. Remember, we were learning about negation, and I think I just need to touch on a little bit more examples from our negation. And we have this particular table with a few more examples. Below is a list of negation and negative expressions in Swahili placed on the table. Memorizing this table will help you add a very useful and important word to your Swahili vocabulary. Number one, if you say, I don't write, then that will be siandiki. If you wanted to say I don't drive, you would say siendeshi. If you wanted to say I don't love, you would say sipendi. For example, someone might say I don't like these jokes, or I don't love these jokes. Therefore, you say sipendi mzaha. If someone says I don't smile, then that would be sitabasamu. If someone says I don't take, then someone would say sichukui. If you're talking about another person, this is now for the second person, and the second person you're saying he doesn't speak. In that regard, you would say haongei. If someone says he doesn't write, then that would be haandiki. If you want to say someone doesn't drive, you would say he doesn't drive, you would say haendeshi. If someone wanted to say he doesn't love, you would say hapendi. If you wanted to give the phrase he doesn't give, you would say hapeani. If you wanted to say he doesn't take, you would say hachukui. If you wanted to now talk about we, the second person plural, that would be we don't speak, then that would be hatusemi. If we don't write, we would say hatuandiki. If we don't drive, we would say hatuendeshi. If we don't love, we would say hatupendi. Hatupendi, we don't like or we don't love. If someone says we don't take, then we would say hatuchukui. Hatuchukui. And it's not difficult. I think that is just one of the simple ways in which you are able to learn and understand how to negate words in Swahili. It's very easy to learn and to understand how to negate these words in Swahili. And if you do have a question, or maybe perhaps you wanted to get an email, a copy of the notes on email, you can write to BlackHotFireAfrica@gmail.com, BlackHotFireAfrica@gmail.com. And once you write to us, just with the subject as well, those particular notes. There are different ways to negate, but I have shown us a couple of them. One of them using the si. You might say sichukui, siongei, sipendi, sitaki. Someone says sitaki. Sitaki simply means I don't want. Sitaki, it means I don't want. I don't want. That is how you would say it. Sitaki. Sitaki. The way you would say it is I don't want. And therefore, someone might say sitaki mzaha. Sitaki mzaha, it means I don't want the jokes. If someone says sitaki chakula, it means I don't want food. If someone says sitaki maji, it means I don't want water. If someone says sitaki Whatever they do say after that, it means they do not want that particular thing. But if you wanted it and it's I, the first person singular, then therefore you would say sitaki, this and that. But if you wanted, you say ninataka. Ninataka, it means I want. Ninataka, ninataka. Ninataka, it means I want. Ninataka, it means I want. But if you didn't want, then therefore you would say sitaki. For example, you wanted water, you'd say ninataka maji, which is I want water. I want water. If you meant that you want hot water, you maybe perhaps might say nipe maji moto. Nipe is give me. Nipe is give me. So if someone says nipe maji moto, it's understood to be give me hot water. Maji moto is hot water. If you're talking about cold, you would say baridi. Baridi is an adjective. It shows that it's cold. So baridi is an adjective. Baridi, it means cold. So therefore, someone might say nipe maji baridi. That would be nipe maji baridi. That would be give me cold water. Or they might say ninataka maji baridi. That is what they would say. Ninataka maji baridi. Ninataka maji baridi. Maji baridi. Or be I want cold water. Right? You might say I want, and then you give the noun, because the nouns refer to things. So the things that you want, you would follow that with the phrase. The phrase ninataka is followed by the noun or the name of the item that you are specifically looking for. You might be looking for a book, you might say ninataka kitabu. You might be looking for an umbrella, you might say ninataka mwamvuli. You might be looking for a bicycle, you might say ninataka baiskeli. You might be looking for a chair, you might say ninataka kiti. So whatever you want, you follow it up with that particular phrase, which is ninataka. Or you might say, to be more polite, you might say ningependa. Ningependa is I would like. So I would like, it doesn't sound more patronizing. It sounds more when you're talking about courtesy, it sounds more courteous. So if you did say ningependa chakula kidogo, then that would be I would like to have a little food. If you did say ningependa kunywa maji kidogo, that means you would like to have drink some little water. And therefore, excuse me, for those examples, you can see that you can be able to request for something very, very easily. After a request has been granted to you, it is always important to say thank you. So in Swahili, you do say asante, or you can say shukran. For example, you might say nipe maji kidogo. Someone gives you water. When they give you water, your request has been granted, and therefore you say asante sana kwa maji. Thank you so much for the water. Or you might say asante sana kwa chakula, which is thank you so much for the food. Or you might say asante sana kwa msaada wako. Msaada is assistance. So if someone says msaada wako, it means for your assistance. So msaada is MSA. Msaada it means assistance. So someone might say nataka msaada kidogo. That will be I want a little bit of your assistance. Nataka msaada kidogo kutoka kwako. It says kutoka kwako is from you. When we were learning about prepositions last time, we did say that you might talk about even those prepositions that refer to like positions. You might say kutoka kwako, or a relation. You might say kutoka kwako, and that would be I want a little bit of assistance from you. If someone affords you the assistance, then you would say asante sana kwa msaada wako. Ninashukuru sana. If someone says ninashukuru, it simply means I appreciate. So therefore, you are saying I appreciate a lot. Ninashukuru sana, it means I appreciate a lot. Therefore, for example, nina shukuru sana Shukuru sana, I mean I appreciate a lot. I appreciate a lot. Ninashukuru sana. And that will be I appreciate a lot. I appreciate a lot. Remember, there's some common courtesy words. For example, samahani. Samahani, we did say in Swahili, samahani, it means excuse me. Excuse me. So, for example, you were trying to understand something and you were not able to understand it. So you might say, samahani, sijakuelewa. We talked about negating things, and we did say, if you did say sijaelewa, it simply means you do not understand. So therefore you might say sijakuelewa. Sijakuelewa, it means I did not understand you. Sijakuelewa means I didn't understand you. Or someone might say sijaelewa chochote. Sijaelewa chochote. Sijaelewa chochote. Chochote means I haven't understood. I haven't understood anything. So chochote in that regard, it means anything. Or someone might say sitaki chochote. It means I don't want anything. Sitaki, sitaki chochote. Chochote. It means I don't want anything. Sitaki chochote. It simply means I don't want anything. Sitaki chochote simply means I don't want anything. Or you might say sikuli chakula. Whatever you say with C, it now becomes negated, and that becomes in the negative. It becomes in the negative, and that is simply how you get to say it, and it's not any difficult. If anyone has a question up to that juncture, please ask. Kama uko na swali kufikia hapo, tafadhali uliza swali. If you have a question up to that point, ask a question. Please ask a question. If you have a question up to that particular point, please ask. I will be more than glad to respond if you do have a question up to that particular point. If not, we shall be winding up. But let me play you this song real quick as we finish up with this session for today. So let me play this song and then we come back and we shall wind up this particular session.
Nikameza kilio, nikabeba siku hizi kama jiwe kifuani, lakini bado nipo, bado na hema, bado naona mwanga ukinipitia. Pole pole najisogeza mbele, pole pole najitenga tena. Usiku huu si wa mwisho, moyo wangu bado unajua kuota. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Najifuta leo, nainuka tena. Kesho ni mpya, naanza tena. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Nafungua njia yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanyamaza. Watu wakapita, nikabaki na kivuli, lakini ndani yangu kuna cheche ndogo. haiwezi kuzima na upepo wote. Nilijifunza kusimama bila kushika mkono, kusikia moyo kinambia usikate tamaa. Kila kovu langu ni ushuhuda kwamba maumivu haya yakunimaliza. Machozi yanatiririka kimya usiku wa giza, nalia moyoni pole nikijificha na maumivu haya, lakini najinyanyua, najifuta machozi yangu. Kesho ni mpya tena, naanza safari yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanikataa, lakini ndani yangu kuna moto hauzimiki. Ninainuka juu, napaka matai angani, kwa tumaini jipya itaangaza gizani. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Najifuta leo, nainuka tena. Kesho ni mpya, naanza tena. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea, naendelea, naendelea. Nafungua njia yangu. Nainuka juu.
Yes, that's a beautiful song right there, and I do hope that you are vibing to it, that you are enjoying that particular song. It's known as Machozi Yanatiririka. And I was saying a little bit earlier on that if you're trying to learn yourself some Swahili, please make sure you do so. And with the help of subtitles, music with subtitles that you can listen to, and that you can always maybe perhaps also refer to others, because it's very, very important that you get to do so. So we shall end our class at this particular juncture. But remember, tomorrow we shall be looking at Swahili articles. We shall be looking at Swahili articles. And you realize that Swahili has, unlike English, which has only one definite article there, Swahili has no definite and indefinite articles, and does not differentiate things or words according to gender. For example, mtu is a person, can either be a man or a woman. A child can either be male or female, which is mtoto. When we say mtu mmoja amekuja, it means one person has come. And when you say mtu mmoja amekuja, it can either be a man or a woman. However, there are also specific names for women and women. For example, mwanamume, mwanaume is for a man, mwanamke is for a woman, mvulana is for a boy, and msichana is for a girl. And the things, these are not labeled according to their gender. For example, kitabu, a nyumba, the plural is vitabu, and nyumba is houses. So you notice that these are in another class as discussed in the classes of nouns. Kitabu is in the KV class of noun. Nyumba is in the EZ class of noun. For example, nyumba nyumba ina yumba yumba, that would be the house is shaking. If you're talking about the book, you would say kitabu kizuri, which is the book is good, and in the plural that would be vitabu vizuri. So you notice that in the second example, the noun does not change, but you can see the plural does change in that particular construction of the sentence in that regard. So we shall be looking into those very, very in our next class for tomorrow. But for today, I would like us to reach at that particular juncture, so that maybe perhaps if you would like a copy of these particular notes, you can let me know, and I will be more than glad to share the notes with you, and also engage you when it comes to maybe perhaps even a trivia, which we shall take tomorrow, over some of the things that we have learned in previous classes. We shall have a bit of a trivia, and we shall be answering that, and we shall be learning more of our beautiful Swahili language right here on the BlackHotFire Network Media for the 21st century. So in case you haven't checked out the official network website. It's www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. So make sure that you check it out. If you haven't, please make sure you do. If you haven't checked it out, kindly check it out. And remember, you can also sign up for things on the network. You can visit www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. You can sign up on there, and you can also continue maybe engaging with the rest of the family, because they do say that iron sharpens iron. So iron sharpens iron. So if you're connecting with like-minded individuals on the platform right there, it becomes much more better for you to be able to interact and to be able to learn what's going on with this and that. So therefore, it is very important. Thank you so much for joining us today. Till next time, much peace and love. I want to say kwaheri. You should join us tomorrow for the same time, the same class right here on the BlackHotFire Network. Peace and love. Kwaheri.